So excited, guys. This is vlog 9 coming at you. Welcome once again to On the Path with Cheryl Nembhard with me, and I am so glad. I say us always because this is a classroom of life. We're in this together. This is not my vlog. This is our vlog. We are learning and growing together. I want to thank everyone for all of their feedback, their comments, their shares. With all of our vlogs so far, we're well over 20,000 views, over 100 shares. Thank you so much for being part of this community, this family, this university of life, and we are learning together. Today, I want to talk to you about an important topic that I think we all need. We are talking about the much needed step of balance. It is so important in this life that we not be over the top in one area and deficient in another. Work-life balance is the rhythm that we need to find in life. So we're going to talk about how to have it all without losing it all, and really maintaining mind, body, and spirit in balance, and getting that work-life family rhythm together. And there's no better person to do that than a good friend of mine, Ruth Thorogood. She's an amazing woman. Grew up in Africa, a missionary's daughter, one of 7 children. This lady has owned businesses, has been over her own marketing company that's done extremely well, a travel agency company that is still doing well. She's a motivator, she's a mother, she's a wife, she's written a book that's coming up about marriage. She's raced cars. She has charted oceans for 9 months in the waters out there to the Bahamas. She is fearless. She rides motorcycles fearless and does it all with balance. I wanted to know how she did it, and it's amazing what I learned in our few discussions. I can't wait for you to hear the big question that she asked herself: how much is too much? Get ready for this talk. Pull your pens out, open your hearts up, open your minds up, and let's get ready to talk about having it all without losing it all. Balance. See you in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ruth Thorogood, my good friend. Aww. This is a dear friend of mine. Ruth is amazing, and on top of she's gorgeous. I mean, hey, she's got it happening outside and inside. But there was something really special that I wanted to say about her while you were getting the visual of her. Ruth has just been selected in a global search to be one of 27 Canadian representatives attending the 2019, am I saying this right, Lausanne Global Workplace Forum. This is going to be held in Manila, and it's in collaboration with over 140 other countries discussing business and mission. Talk about work-life balance. Representative. She's representing Canada, and she's going to be helping us in this discussion today. So first of all, Ruth, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that you're here. I think that when I thought about the topic of balance, you came to mind right away, and I emailed you and let you know, because I feel like you have been able to do what many of us are still working towards, which is wanting it all, having drive, not losing passion in it, but yet being able to sort of maintain balance, not burn out, and somehow excel in all of it. It's not easy.
No. And I would say that it's not that I haven't burnt out.
Yeah.
It's not that I always excelled. I don't think it's something that comes natural to everybody. In fact, I grew up in a family that was very, like, driven, work your butt off, you know, whatever the late hours, workaholics, really.
Yeah.
And so for me, the challenge was after a few burnouts and my husband going, you know, can we find some better kind of...
Can we find the balance?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then, you know, it was evaluating that and going, okay, what is really going on? What do we really need to do to get everything balanced? And for me, balance is about, do I have time for my husband?
Yeah.
For us to actually have a relationship so we're not like yelling and
Yeah.
frustrated with each other all
Yeah.
the time. Do I have time for my guys to have a dance party every now and then and
Yeah.
hang out
Oh, I
and
love
just
that.
talk? And
I love that.
you know, but then do I have enough time to give my best to my job?
And you know, I was going to ask you that. That was what I was going to ask you is what is your working definition of balance? If someone's sitting here and they're thinking, am I balanced? Do I have balance in my life? Here's a really good sort of check-in. What would be that definition for you? And then the B would be, what does that look like daily?
Well, I mean, for me, doing my job well is such an important thing.
Mm-hmm.
When I get in there, I want to be delivering the best quality, doing as much as I possibly can all the time.
Yeah.
And so I think the thing that I discovered was being able to go, I don't have to solve all the problems today.
Yeah.
Leaving it within my work time frame, occasionally going over, but not allowing that to become a habit, so that there's room for kids and family and friends
Oh, I love that.
and working out. Like,
Yeah.
how many of us get so busy that we can't even take care of ourselves because that train is just continually moving.
I
So
love
finding
that.
that balance.
Finding that balance that you can, by the way, we are in, talk about balance, I want you to just take this all in as we're walking. We're in Ruth's backyard. Part of this is really talking to people in their place of, some would say Zen, peace, where they can think, where they can gather their thoughts, and this is your place.
That's definitely our place.
So we're gonna walk in her place of balance, and we're gonna talk about balance a little bit. So your definition is knowing that you have room capacity to be able to be your very best in all those areas. So when you feel like you're slipping, is that a good indication that maybe things are off?
Absolutely. And I think the big thing for me was coming to this realization that, sure, I could build a really awesome career and have tons of successes,
Yeah.
but what is it going to do for me and my husband if at the end of it all, our boys are wrecked? And so now seeing our guys come out the other end, there's been a lot of sacrifices along the way.
I would love to talk to you about that.
But now, like, watching them now be so happy and so passionate about what they're doing and love people the way that Andrew and I love people.
You said something. Would you say that part of living a balanced life is being willing to sacrifice some things?
Absolutely. And sometimes we're not always willing, but God goes, by the way, I'm taking this away from you.
Yeah.
Which is really actually what happened to me. We had moved to Kenya from the travel company. My marketing company was still going well, and God orchestrated a series of events, the economic downturn and a drought and rotating power outages and internet issues that made me have to shut my company down. And it was absolutely devastating. But after
it was doing well at the time, you were thriving,
excellent.
You had found purpose in that too.
Absolutely. It was who I was. It was, you know, my identity was around, I do marketing really well and people love my work. I was getting huge contracts and doing incredible things. And it was all gone. All, like, within a matter of weeks, it was absolutely gone.
How did that make you feel? And what did you learn from that?
I was destroyed. I bawled for like almost a year. I was a mess. I was initially mad at my husband, and then it occurred to me, oh, actually God's the one that orchestrated this perfect storm of events.
Yeah.
So then I was mad at him. And God goes, I felt like God was saying to me, when you're done having your little temper tantrum and rolling around on the floor like a little kid, let's talk. And what I learned was that my identity had been in my work, not in who I was.
So big.
Right?
Your identity was in what you were doing, not in who you were.
Right. Who I wasn't, you know,
Big.
who I was as a person as a whole.
Big.
A mother, a wife, a child of God who's deeply
Come
loved.
on. Yeah.
And the best lesson that I learned out of it was that God guards our dreams.
Yeah.
And when He takes something away, it usually is, always actually, is for our good. And when things get shut down, you tend to go, what? This is what I'm doing. And God goes, yeah, but something else is coming up. You've got to be ready for it.
I gotta ask you this question. Was there ever a time in your life that you had to white flag? Was there ever, you know, I know that you've sort of come into this awareness of balance, but I think that that didn't come overnight. There must have been a major burnout time. Tell me about that white flag moment, and if you can help us figure out, as we are all searching, what are some signs based on your experience that we should look for that gives us the uh-oh, right?
Well, actually, the white flag moment came after I had that big, you know, reforming of who I was with God, losing the company. It came when I, you know, had spent time with the boys, helped them launch into university, and then I was like, okay, this nonprofit job has come available and I can run this nonprofit for a while. And I found that I went right back into my give it everything I've got mode. And my husband, meanwhile, in the background was going, honey, I still exist. You know, just because our boys are gone doesn't mean I've left the building. And the red flags for me was when I was just working nonstop, like into the night again, early in the morning, all day. And I actually had to stop the job and recalibrate again, to reset everything back again, because I got that like stress again with the job that, you know, if I don't do it all now, I'm not going to get places with this nonprofit.
Right.
But now, you know, I'm back doing work on my own, and now we're done at 5, time together for dinner, and having time for our boys and time for our men now, having time together. And it's taken a while. I don't think it's something that automatically changes for you, where you just go, oh, work-life balance, I do that. You know, you have to as you said, checking for the white flags that are going up and going, what do we have to reset now in order to make things work?
When you speak about your marriage, I've got to ask you, because you're authoring a book on marriage, coming soon to you, and I've heard a little bit of some of the teachings that will come out of that. Powerful, like just a different way of looking at marriage. You've challenged my thinking in many ways. I'd love you to just share this. How do you find the balance in marriage?
Well, balance in marriage is really a constant thing. Like, a lot of people think, oh, it's a fix it all, you know, in this session together or that session together or going away for holiday or whatever. It's a little bit of everything in your everyday. So, you know, your husband's sitting working on something, coming up and just, hey, honey, just thinking about you. It's learning how to talk to each other in a way that shows your spouse that you value them. It's, you know, taking time to go for a walk together occasionally at night to just get on the same page, or a bike ride, whatever it is you love to do. Because life gets so busy, sometimes you don't do the date night. You know, everybody goes, oh yeah, we're going to have date night, and you do it for 2 or 3 weeks.
So still being intentional and carving out time.
Right.
For the you said something that it's just shaped me, literally. You talked to me about not using eternal words.
Yes.
Please share that.
Yeah. So the big thing that a lot of couples do is they go, you never do this, or you always do that. And it suggests that never once in your whole marriage
have you ever done
that item. And so by doing that, it basically devalues any effort the other person has ever done to contribute to your marriage. So what we tell couples is you use instead, you know, honey, I've been really tired, and in the last little while you haven't done this very often, whether it's washing dishes or mowed the lawn. Could you just take a few moments to just do it this time? Do you mind taking care of it this time? And really what you're doing is you're not just valuing the effort that they've put in, but you're also showing them respect. You're not automatically shutting them down and saying, you know, I don't even know why. Like, essentially you're saying, I don't even know why I married you. You're a loser. You haven't, you know, you don't do anything. And so you're really putting value into them. And that's what I mean by the ongoing relationship that you build with each other. Having that respect in your conversation just makes such a huge difference to build the bridge and the foundation that you can springboard off of.
I love that, because I mean, I'm stretching it a bit, but I feel like not using the eternal words can also apply to other relationships we have in our worlds. I feel like those, the never and the always, are very confrontational.
Absolutely.
I didn't see it that way, but it's so important to be able to speak in a certain way and appreciate. I love that.
Especially to your kids.
Especially to your kids.
This is a really big, what happened is, as we changed how we talk to each other, we changed how we talk to kids. And so, you know, things like speaking hope into them and saying, I know you're going to figure this out. Or I know you're good at this.
Yeah.
In this particular instance, it didn't go well, but, you know, can we look at it and do it together? That spills over to your kids.
Do you know why I love this? Because I feel like when people talk about balance, they talk about work-life balance. Work-life balance. But you don't hear the word family in that equation ever. And it's not enough to be sort of like balanced in work, balanced in everyday life. You've got to be intentional about how you have balance in your family.
Absolutely.
Because that can get really imbalanced. That kids feel left out, or you're taking stuff out on the kids. You're not listening to them. There's no communication. So even what you're sharing helps with balancing family out as well.
Yeah.
This is my favorite spot in the backyard for obvious reasons. And I mean, look at this scenery. You can't help but find some balance in this place. And this is kind of where you go to just unplug, right?
It's true.
Before I ask you this last question, I have to ask you, you know, you've been like this sort of advocate for balance, you know, in my sisterhood, in my group. She heads up, she took this on herself, getting sort of all these female leaders together, movers and shakers, and forcing them to really unplug, to take the mask off. We call it Ruth's table. She didn't call it that. We call it that. And it's a place of just being really vulnerable, saying that I'm white flagging, talking about, you know, burnout or anything that's going on in our lives, and helping to restore the balance. So I love that. Why is it so important to you, this whole thing of balance? Like, why do you preach it, live it, teach it?
Well, there's, you know, for us it's been an evolving path. And Andrew has throughout our marriage asked, how much is enough? And it's kind of become a theme question for us. We noticed that the more we had, the more stressed we were.
Wow.
You know, you think about owning a house and owning a cottage. Well, you have to take care of the cottage now and the house, right? You have bills to pay out both, which means increased income, working harder, making more money. So all of these things drive you. What you decide to do drives you. You know, if you want the club membership, it all drives you. And so our question was, how much is enough? And when are we just going to be happy with what we have?
I love this moment, because I was sitting here thinking to myself, so many people, I can speak for myself and others, we are driven, really focused in our vision, but sometimes along the way you think, okay, success means stuff, right?
And busyness.
Success means stuff plus busyness.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily the case, because what you're saying to me is more stuff is more worry, more stress, more anxiety, not necessarily a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I say busyness because we sometimes equate being busy all the time as successful as well.
That's good.
And if you're so busy that you don't like, what is your
then
future?
you're not really successful, are you?
Well, what does your future really look like? You've now got all this stuff. You're crazy busy. You suddenly don't have a marriage, and your kids hate you.
Ruth Thorogood.
Right?
You're making me sing in the high E note right there. You know why? Because what you're doing right now in this conversation for me, and I'm sure for someone else, is she's redefining success for us. You're saying to me that this whole idea of success for stuff and being busy and having this full plate is not necessarily success. Success is looking how much did you pour into your children?
Yes.
What kind of human beings are they in the world? What legacy are you leaving? Maybe you're not a mother, but what legacy are you leaving? How have you impacted and touched the lives of it? There are other touch points of what success really is.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, who are you dancing with? Right? When the job is done, when the work is done.
Love that.
Like, how do you have any joy left to dance? And who are your dance partners afterwards?
Do you have any joy left? That is one of those questions about balance. If you want to know if you have balance, come home from your day, come home from the projects, take a minute and check in and ask yourself, do I have joy? Right? Because if I've lost that, I'm more than likely out of balance.
Right. And when I say who do you dance with, I mean God, your partner,
Love it.
your kids, your family,
Your
your friends. You know, you need that. Like, why are we living life? Are we living it for stuff?
Yeah.
Or are we living it for the joy of experiencing things together?
I love that.
So the other reason why business is kind of an important area for me is because we have so many people doing business. We have pastors, but they're like the 1% of us Christians. The people that are doing business and are doing jobs are the 99%. So that's why I'm excited about this workplace forum, that we could mobilize all of these Christian business people and go and affirm them that yes, God has called you where you are to be a light where you are and to care about people and to love on people and make a difference. So if we can define our version of success,
So good.
the impact that that is already having for us among all of our networks, imagine if that's multiplied like 100 times over.
And so we come to our last question. Thank you so much for sharing on balance and everything. I want you to just turn to the camera. And there's someone watching. I always say we're in the classroom of life. There's someone watching that needs a little balance in their lives, finding themselves very burnt out. What have you learned on the path to balance? What's something that they should put in their heart, hold on to, look for, anything?
Well, I just would like to challenge you today, and thank you for joining us, that there's more to life than being busy all the time and having a million things and looking the most beautiful and being the best of everything. The joy of life is having time with the people that you love, that you care about, and the ability to be content. And that contentment really only comes when you know who you are in God and you allow Him to redefine who you are, take off your boundaries, and become something you never imagined. Not with busyness, not with stress, and not with the world's version of success, but with God's version of how amazing you can be. Our identity is not in what we do and what the world thinks that we are. Our identity is in Christ and who we are as a whole person together with our
There's nothing else to say after that. Here is to living, here is to loving, here's to learning, but more importantly, here is to finding balance. Here is to redefining success and redefining what our identity is. It's not in what we do, it's not in stuff, it's not in busyness. It's in who we've been made divinely to be. We hope you find balance. We hope that you attain it and that you really understand that there's so much more than what we're putting our hands to. See you tomorrow.
1, 2, 3, 4.